Alrighty guys, we're back for some Dimir Spirits, and this is a March of the Machine, the Aftermath, Standard Brew. We're gonna go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to ya. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got in the build here? Lantern Bearer, we have all four of them. It's a 1 mana, 1/1 Flying Spirit, has a disturb cost for 2 and a blue, so you may cast this card from your graveyard transformed for its disturb cost. Comes out as a Lantern's Lift. It's an aura, enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. If Lantern's Lift would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Not a bad little 1-drop, guys, it really isn't. Got 4 Malevolent Hermits in here. This is a 2 mana, 2/1 human wizard, so it's not a spirit in and of itself, but it does have a disturb cost here where it comes out as Benevolent Geist. Getting ahead of myself though, what does Malevolent Hermit do? For 1 blue, you can sacrifice Malevolent Hermit, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 3. Pretty decent, guys, it really is. And then for the disturb of 2 and a blue, Benevolent Geist is a 2/2 flying spirit wizard. Non-creature spells you control can't be countered. Nice. And then, of course, if Benevolent Geist would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Yeah, solid creature, guys. Kind of forgotten a little bit, I would say. We have 4 Modern Ages in here. So for the first 2 chapters of this saga, draw a card, then discard a card. And then on chapter 3, exile the saga, and it comes back as Vector Glider, which is a 2/3 flying spirit. Not bad, guys, and being an enchantment in this build is going to be a little bit important. We have all 4 Tribute to Horobi here. This is a 2 mana saga. For the first 2 chapters, each opponent creates a 1/1 Black Rat Rogue creature token. Then on chapter 3, you exile it. It comes back as Echo of Death's Wail, which is a 3/3 flying haste spirit. When Echo of Death's Wail enters the battlefield, gain control of all rat tokens. Whenever Echo of Death's Wail attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. This card happens to be relatively solid, as long as the opponent doesn't have enchantment removal and then they get to keep the rats, right? Now, you could always see multiple Tribute to Horobis too, and so hopefully they don't just have multiple enchantment removal at that point. But overall, it's a pretty solid card, it really is. More Spirits Patrician Geist, of course, right? It's a 3 mana, 2/2 flying Spirit Knight. Other spirits you control get +1/+1. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 1 less to cast. In this build, this is going to be pretty great, man. Buffing all of our spirits +1/+1 is really why it's in here, but we are casting stuff back from the grave like the Hermit and the Bearer, so yeah, I think it's going to be terrific in here. Let's have a Geistlight Snare to fit that spirit theme. It's a 3 mana instant speed. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. However, this spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a spirit. And then it also costs 1 less to cast if you control an enchantment. With all the sagas and spirits we got packed in here, guys, I don't think it's going to be terribly difficult to have a 1 mana Geistlight Snare. I really don't. As a matter of fact, I bet it's 1 mana most of the time in this build, but we'll see, right? Maybe we want to treat it as like a 2 mana counter spell, maybe. At that point, it would be very similar to a Make Disappear, but either way, I think it's going to be solid in here. So far, you can kind of tell it's a tempo style build, right? The Long Reach of Night is a 4 mana saga. For the first 2 chapters, each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. And then for the third, of course, you exile it, comes back as Animus of Night's Reach, which is a 0/4 spirit with menace. And whenever Animus of Night's Reach attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in defending player's graveyard. Overall, I think this card is pretty decent, man. I really do. Fitting that saga theme and everything in here and the spirit theme, it's going to be terrific. I'm telling you what. Top end spirit Death-Rattle Oni. This is a new one. It's a 7 mana, 5/4 with flash. It's a demon spirit. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature that died this turn. When Death-Rattle Oni enters the battlefield, destroy all other creatures that were dealt damage this turn. Honestly, we played with this one already, and it's pretty decent. I actually really like it. I think it belongs somewhere, honestly. In a deck that, I mean, it kind of, imagine it this way, right? You have 3 creatures and the opponent wipes the board. Now this is a 1 mana 5/4 that you flash out on their turn. That seems pretty decent, man. I don't know. I like that it fits the spirit theme here. It's going to be interesting to see how often we actually get this down for cheap. I think it's going to be really easy to cast this out for 3 mana, right? Because that could be as simple as just the opponent trading with a creature. That's 2 creatures dead, so it costs 4 less, right? So it's a 3 mana flash 5/4. Even that seems pretty decent. So yeah, maybe we treat this as a 3 mana card. I mean, you definitely don't want to cast this out for all 7 mana, so... We also have cards in here like the Malevolent Hermit that sacrifices itself that works with that. We have the Tribute that sacrifices your creatures that works with the Death-Rattle as well. We do have some removal packed in as well. A couple cut downs instead of something like Fading Hope, just literally because of the Death-Rattle Oni. So I don't know if that's actually worth it. Maybe Fading Hope would be better in a build like this that actually cares about the tempo. But I think cut down's going to be great. And yeah, really, I just chose the cut down because of the Death-Rattle. So we'll see, we'll see. Fading Hope made the honorable mentions over here for a good reason, right? Drown in Ichor is a sorcery speed, 2 mana. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, then Proliferate. With all the sagas in here, that Proliferate is really going to come in handy, isn't it? It could be... Here's a line of play, right? You got a turn 2 Tribute. The opponent gets a 1/1. On turn 3, they get the other 1/1. And then you can play your 3rd mana, play a Drown in Ichor, Proliferate. This flips into Echo of Death's Wail. You grab the tokens that they just got. At that point, you can swing in, you can draw all that fun stuff, but you'll still have that 1 mana open for a cut down or a Geistlight Snare, right? Because at that point, it would be a 1 mana card, thanks to the Echo of Death's Wail being an enchantment spirit, right? So... I don't know, that actually seems really powerful, doesn't it? I also like that it's -4/-4. I'm running into a lot more indestructible creatures, like Guardian of New Benelia has been making an appearance, man, and it's a good one. Anything else to go over? Yeah, Kaito, Dancing Shadow. I don't get to play with this one very often. I think it's actually my first time playing with it. It's a 4 mana, 3 loyalty, legendary planeswalker. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return 1 of them to its owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyalty abilities on Kaito twice this turn rather than only once. So it's got a +1 where up to 1 target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. Cool. It's got a 0 for draw a card. Not bad. It's got a -2 to create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch, and when this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So you can do something simple like use that drone to sacrifice it to the Echo of Death's Wail. That's a possibility, right? But other than that, you can do things like bounce your Saga creatures back to your hand if you want, and then you recast it to get all the Saga effects again, which could be pretty cool, especially if you need more removal from like the long Reach of Night. It would be pretty easy to get that damage through with Menace if you already plussed the Kaito, so yeah, there's a lot of little synergies packed in here. I'm pretty excited to try it out, honestly. Soaring City, Abandoned Mire, and opting for all the dual lands. I think they're all going to be equally important in this particular build. We are leaning toward blue, however, so... Honorable mentions, guys. I thought about Spectral Adversary. Dream Shackle Geist is another good spirit, and for some top-end goodness, I thought about Teferi because it generates spirits. This Teferi is pretty strong. It really is, so it's definitely something to consider for the top end. More top-end goodies. Junji the Midnight Sky is a dragon spirit, and it's a powerful one at that, so definitely something to consider. Okay, guys, is that everything? I think so. Honestly, I think this, even though there's a lot packed in, I think it's going to be a relatively easy build without too many decisions, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. All right into that first match, guys. Yeah, so what am I expecting from the build? A little bit here or there. I do think it's going to be janky. I think that even after the bans, the meta is super scary, and the decks are very powerful. Uh-oh, no blue source. Well, can we survive for a while here? Opponent goes first. We do have a cut down. Stop some early stuff. Now we should mulligan. No blue source is pretty scary, man. Okay. much better. I like the double hermits, but for the sake of just playing with more of the deck, I'm going to send one. Right? That way we have more variety overall. Okay, Marsh comes down. At this point, I'm thinking we go right into the modern age. Yeah, modern age, because I'd rather that. Well, if they have the make disappear for Hermit, at least we have the disturb for the Hermit. Whereas if they make disappear modern age, we just lose the card. So yeah, I like Malevolent Hermit here a little more, since we can eventually disturb it back. If they even want to. Okay, Ring the Ending. Okay, there's a counter spell we don't see too often. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2, and then it has Corrupted here, so counter that spell instead if its controller has 3 or more poison counters. That's right, I remember this one now. We did see some play with it a while back. Drown would be good here. I don't mind the Patrician Geist. I don't mind bringing the Hermit back. We're going to get 2 poison counters from the Duelist. I guess we should... this is probably protection, though, isn't it? I guess we'll get this down and see if we can find a 1-mana chump blocker or a cut down. I think that's fine. Malevolent Hermit is probably the card to send, right? Because eventually we can bring that back. All right. Getting some poison counters. This was most likely protection open anyways, guys. We've seen these style of builds plenty of times, and there's a reason they didn't play it on turn 2, unless they didn't have their white source right away, but they probably did. Calling Chorus. Okay, we're probably in trouble here. We definitely need to do a little bit more on our turns. Oh, nice. We got the Shipwreck instead of the Shores. Honestly, I'm going to send the Shores. 4 mana is fine for now, and I believe we have 24 mana in here, so overall should be good. Flip the Modern Age. So we go Modern Age. Unless we want to play around to bring the ending. Drown an Ichor. Now, I'm going to go Modern Age, and maybe if it is another bring the ending, maybe they would hit that instead. Patrician Geist number 2, that could be really good, huh? I like the Snare, but is it doing a lot for us right now? Not really. Whereas the double Geists could buff enough above. Oh, this might just be a Red Cat style mistake where I don't necessarily like playing with counter spells, but... Alright, Drown in Ichor, come on. Land on the target. Flip some creatures for us. Experimental Augury, okay. So they could easily find protection then, and it probably is, man. These style of builds usually have the protection because they could run Tibia safekeeping. They could run like 8 to 12 of them, I would say, right? Like all the safekeepings, all of... Oh my. Oh, yeah, that's, we're gonna die. That's what, 8? 8 poison counters, guys. Okay. I guess we want to draw and discard first. Either way, it's fine. So the Snare's about to be 1, so I'm gonna ditch the Swamp. Because we'll still have the Snare available, and at least we finally have some blockers then. Opponent only has 1 card in hand. So we have successful blockers now, and if they have anything fancy in hand... Proliferate to 9. We should probably let them proliferate to 9, right? And then wait to counter the next card. Well, first of all, they have the 3 to pay, so yeah. They still had 3 mana available there. And now if it's like a safekeeping or something, They still have 3. Oh, okay, okay, Annex Sentry. They tapped the 1 down and I got confused. So yeah, this is Geistlight Snare for sure. Look at that. Look at that. 1 mana snare coming in handy, man. They can't swing. Tribute, that would have been sweet. So it's gonna be Geist number 2. And then Hermit from the Grave for 1 mana. This is sick, guys. How cool is this? We should probably start swinging, huh? We should probably start swinging. Because they're down to 14, and we have lethal on the board. They need to see proliferate off the top or something fancy. They could easily have this. This is anyone's game. What do you guys think they found? Oh, they dropped the GGs. There it is, guys. How cool is that? What a great first game. We took some risks here and there. The Geistlight Snare really came in handy to stop that Annex Sentry. The double Geists were kind of insane. Like, look at this board, man. This is exactly what I wanted to see from this build. Like, you could really feel the tempo this time around. That was awesome, man. Oh, let's hop into the next one. Man, I love it when we have a great first game like that. You know what I mean? Against, I guess that was what? That was Bant Toxic, right? I guess we don't see too much Bant Toxic, I guess, right? It's been a while since I've run into it. Maybe it's making a comeback. Who knows? Okay, no turn 1. Opponent goes first. I don't think this is a bad hand, though. Do you guys? Even though it's not there's no turn 1 because of the marsh. Of course, there's a chance that we draw an untapped source. Okay. I don't think this is a mulligan. It might not be the best hand, but I don't think a mulligan would be worthwhile. Okay. Skrelv hits the board. Okay. Honestly, hopefully it's not more toxic. Hey, there we go. Untapped blue source for turn 1 Lantern Bearer. When I see Skrelv, the first thing I think of is Esper Legends, but I doubt it would just be a Plains turn 1 for Esper Legends, you know what I mean? Second Plains. Hopeful Initiate. Okay. So, potentially... Okay. Potentially just mono white aggro, which could be fun to go up against. Hermit makes an appearance, or we can keep the Geistlight for their turn 3, which might be the best. Might be the best thing to do. Keep a blocker back for the Skrelv. The Initiate's gonna get through. Just keep the Geistlight Snare open. Right? And keep a blocker back, I suppose. Just in case. If we don't keep the blocker back, they have the swing with Skrelv as well. Okay, no attacks. It's just 1 damage too, so... If this was like a flying 2-1, I think maybe I would have swung. Because there's a chance of outpacing at some point. Okay, one getting through. Hopefully we do get a counter on their turn 3. Initiate. I'm going to save the snare. I don't think Initiate number 2 is worth hitting. So, we have Patrician Geist next turn. Our Bearer will be a 2-2, and their Initiates aren't buffing yet, so we probably just keep the blocker back, right? And since they missed their planes, there's no guarantee that they're going to see a planes off the top, so saving the snare back for their turn 3 doesn't, or for their 3-drop, doesn't seem like the best bet either. We'd have double Hermit next turn if we wanted to. Makes great blockers on the ground that can come back as buffed up spirits, so... Yeah, we'll see. This is most likely just the Skrelv being held open. At this point, they're probably... If they don't see mana... So unfortunately, I'm gonna keep the Bearer back again. If they don't see mana, then it's probably Skrelv ability on one of the initiates, call blue, and then swing for 1. That's not a very eventful turn for the opponent, though, by any means. I guess they could still do that. Even if they do find their 3rd mana, they can always pay the 2 on the Skrelv to get the 1 through with the initiate. Ah, Guardian, okay. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more Guardian of New Benelia pop up, so that -4/-4 is going to be terrific if we can see that card. Also, the counter would have been really good for it, too. Death-Rattle Oni. Swing for 4 in the air. We might actually be able to outpace at this point. Maybe I should have swung last turn. The initiates are going to buff. Hermits are going on the ground. One of them's going to block the Guardian, make him discard, take 4. But they're taking 4 this turn, too. Alright, let's do this, man. Either way, they can go Skrelv on an initiate, call blue, swing with the Guardian, and 1 initiate. So, holding blockers back here just doesn't seem like the best thing to do. So if we go... Okay, let's get that swing. If we go Hermit, we could keep the Snare open, which could be really good. If we go double Hermit, I think that's completely fine too, though. If we go Hermit block, that's 2, not 3 for the Oni. So I'd rather keep the Snare open this time around. How do you guys feel about that? Because we could stop something big, like Plains drops, then they drop Brutal Cathar, and then Geistlight Snare stops that. That could be huge, dude. They're getting a little unlucky not seeing their 3rd mana, but I mean, it looks like a lot of their deck can be played without it. So I'm guessing... Oh, there's the Plains. So Adeline, stuff like that exists in this. Oh, buddy. Steel Seraph is definitely worth the counter, huh? Definitely worth the counter. And they can still pay the 2 if they want an initiate to get through. They're gonna go for the both initiates though, which makes sense. I guess we have a 2/1, and since it was buffing to a 2/3, it definitely makes sense to swing with both of them. So we block with the Guardian and make them discard. When we lose the Hermit, we can always recast it back as the Benevolent Geist for 2 mana because our Geist is on the board. Tell you what, dude. Seems pretty decent. If we do that, we can have 3 open. So we do this. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. We could potentially have the 3 open if we do run into a trade next turn. If 2 creatures die, then Death-Rattle Oni is 3 mana flash. I don't exactly know how we're going to get 2 creatures to die when we don't have good trades into the initiates. But it depends. I guess we could see something off the top too. Okay, indestructible. They get rid of a lay down arms actually. Wow. That could have exiled the Patrician Geist. So now we go Swamp, get the Hermit back. Benevolent Geist is a 3/3 in the air. Ooh! Long Reach of Night is great, dude. If we get the ball rolling with the Long Reach, too. Because that's a sacrifice or a discard. If they discard more... We got decisions to make, guys. If we go Hermit, we are outpacing pretty well here. Long Reach is brutal, though. Could swing for 4. Swing for 2 with the Geist here, and then have a blocker again with the Lantern Bearer. I think it's Long Reach. I think the time to outpace them is over, and now we want to start looking at survivability until we can get enough. Like the laydown arms, this probably means they have a second laydown arms in hand. You know what I mean? So we're probably getting that discard because they'd rather keep the board state here, I would say. It's a relatively decent board state. Unless it's like, oh, one initiate is out of here. Maybe we can still outpace them. I'm going for it. This would be down to 12. Long reach is going to make them discard or sacrifice next turn too. What the best draw we could possibly get is our proliferate -4/-4, right? Like that would be so good. Second Steel Seraph is a pain because now they can go lifelink. And they can actually, yeah, tap that. So they're going to be gaining 4, and then they get the scry. Yeah, so second Steel Seraph means we're not outpacing, so we definitely need to see some removal here. More removal. Another long reach would be good too, honestly. Island, okay. So if they sacrifice a creature, then Death-Rattle Oni will actually be cheap enough. It'll be 5 mana. Hermit blocks Seraph pretty well. So they discard a plains. Okay. Okay. So Hermit back from the grave, obviously, right? We can't swing into the 3/3 Seraph. And at this point, they have a really good setup, man. They really, really do. I'm a little bit scared because they can go lifelink on the Guardian again if they really wanted to. And then, well, they have a great flyer in the air too. They can go Skrelv on the Guardian to make sure it doesn't get blocked by our blue creatures. And it's not like Death-Rattle, we would need 7 to just outright cast this. It would be a decent blocker. No, not really, actually. All right, that's the turn, man. It's not looking terrific, but I still think this is anyone's game. We could easily see some of our spot removal off the top. Oh, Drown in Ichor is the name of it. I forgot the name for a few turns there. Yeah, Drown in Ichor would be insane. Takes out the Guardian really well. Would have been better that turn to like proliferate onto our sagas, but still. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's not a swing with Initiate and the Seraph, because Initiate would be a 3/4. Actually, they might be thinking about this right now. Because if it was a full swing... Oh, they're still keeping the Seraph back. Well, buffing the Guardian doesn't buff the Initiate. I believe that would have already had to happen for the counter. So this is a good block for us into that Initiate then. Probably Malevolent Geist. We don't know what's in hand, unfortunately. They're going to be discarding 1. Lantern Bearer. I'd rather Lantern Bearer die here, actually, so we can keep the Hermit's ability. Right? Because if it is... Wow, they let the Guardian die. That was strange. They must really like their hand. Intrepid Adversary. I mean, I'm just gonna flash out my Death-Rattle Oni, man. Just gonna do it right now. The 6/5. Oh, it killed my creature, though. That's fine, that's fine. It's a 1-mana Death-Rattle Oni. I can't... Yeah, don't forget the bottom ability, though. That was kind of my fault. Still really cool. Okay, Long Reach is a creature now. Hermit off the top. Not bad. It really isn't. Anyways, yeah, bottom ability. When it enters the battlefield, destroy all other creatures that were dealt damage this turn. It's not just your opponent's creatures. It counts as yours, too. So we ended up losing the Benevolent Geist there. It was still a worthwhile trade. My goodness, huh? Okay, well. Go Lantern Bearer on the Death-Rattle. It blocks well. We could start swinging again. Steel Seraph still has the ability to give lifelink whenever they need to, though. What a match, guys. This is fun. It's a fun time. It's a mono-white aggro looking pretty good over there, honestly. Second Hermit. We have 9 in the air. They have 3 in the air. We have good blockers on the ground. You know what? I'm going for it, dude. They don't know what's in hand either. We might still be able to outpace them. Like, we're doing good damage. And Malevolent Hermit ability might save us from removal as well. Best removal they could find is Brutal Cathar, because our Hermit doesn't change the fact that Cathar still hits well. So they have lifelink on Adversary. They're probably gaining 6 this turn, but we have enough on board to the point where they really need to see something. Opponents also dealt with, well, they found their 4th mana, but they discarded 1 earlier, so that's 5 mana total that they've seen this game. Which seems about okay for mono white aggro, right? They don't keep a blocker back. If they don't have removal in hand, lay down arms. They have the 3. They have the 3. Do we do this? No. We let them hit that. Good target. So it's a 4 mana card. They had 4 planes. Yeah, we let it hit since they had the 3 and we're gaining 3 life there. So they're in a really tricky spot where do they keep blockers back or do they just keep trying? So Skrelv can't block. So if they swing in the air... Okay. They're swinging. Skrelv can't block. So they're up to 16. We have 9 and another 4. So we have 13 here. They make it so that way Adversary can't be blocked too. Nice, opponent. Very nice. Now if we don't keep a blocker back, we might be in trouble. Depending on what they see on top, right? Tribute isn't great because giving them an extra 1/1 right now is just really bad. Not getting damage through. They have 7 on the board. If they see Adversary on the top, it doesn't matter. That's game because they have the Skrelv. They can call blue. So we keep blocker back. Guys, call me crazy. I think we risk it. They have 7 on the board and they have to draw perfectly. Let's get them down to 3. See what they draw. I like being reckless like this sometimes, guys. It's fun. And this was a really fun game too. So let's see it, man. Sometimes I like it to come down to that D20 dice roll. Oh, man. I'm on the edge of my seat, dude. Oh, come on. Yeah, let's go. So what would have been a little less of a reckless play there? Since they had lifelink getting through pretty well and they had the Skrelv to make things unblockable. Oh, buddy, did I ever have fun that game. Hey, we got back up to platinum. Nice. It took me an extra little while to get back up to platinum this time round. We were getting beat up a little bit by the brand new meta, huh? So what would have been safer? Keeping a black creature back and a blue creature back would have been safer. But if they saw removal off the top, remove 1. Skrelv gives that ability for the other. I think we would have been in trouble either way. So I really liked the full swing there. If we would have kept the Death-Rattle Oni back, that's 7 damage. That wouldn't have hit their face too. So if we would have just like swung for 4, I mean, yeah, I think maybe it was actually better to just play it out recklessly and be risky there. It was sweet, guys. That was awesome, man. I think the deck is playing out pretty beautifully, but we don't see too much of the generic mono white aggro. So let's see if we can see a bit of the meta. Then again, I guess I really don't know where the meta landed yet. What have you guys been seeing? Opponent goes first again? We're going to need this removal then. I think the opponents went first every time today. Generous Visitor. Oh yeah, speaking of the meta, right? There we go. There we go. This will be a fun one. So yeah, Selesnya enchantments have been making a big appearance. And I was seeing a lot more mono red there for a couple days, but now I think not as much. Probably Army of Transients. Okay. Do we go right into the drown, or... I like the cut down, I like the drown. If we go modern age, we can flip it a turn early with a drown and keeping cut down open. Pretty risky though. No, I actually like that. Maybe it's less risky than I'm thinking. Probably a lot of things that require black sources, but it's majority blue in the deck. So probably the swamp, I would say. All right, third comes down, and hopefully it's not right into a Calyx. That card is nasty. Second visitor. Hopefully none of these get... Oh my goodness. Okay, well then. Third visitor hits the board, and hopefully cut down still has a target after all of this. Let's see. Kami of Transients going up to a 3-3. Okay, we can at least hit one of the visitors. I mean, triple visitor, guys, that's disgusting, man. Alright, so a Lantern Bearer could be a good blocker. Kami of Transients has that trample, unfortunately. I like the Hermit because it can help us counter an important enchantment. So I'd say Lantern Bearer. I like keeping the 4 land available here. Okay, Shipwreck. Okay. As cool as it would have been to get like a tribute down and then the drown, at least we have 2 drowns, so cut down here. Okay. Drown and Ichor, take out Visitor. Submit 1. Flip the Modern Age. It's a great blocker, man. It's a 2-3. It's not bad. Really isn't. Cut down on our turn because there's a potential for protection? Maybe. A lot to think about here, actually. We're going to do it on our turn, guys. I think when the opponents are running green and white and stuff like that, there's actually not a bad chance that they're running Tamiyo Safekeeping, even though we don't run into it too often, because there's not a lot of room in Selesnya enchantments to include a Safekeeping. You just never know. So doing that on our turn, I like that. 3 cards in hand, because Audacity is insane, dude. We just played Selesnya enchantments for last Thursday's video, and it was good. It was really good. I always try to make my lists like a little bit different. Oh, Michiko's Reign of Truth forcing us to block here because they have 10 on the board now. Oh, they have way more than... yeah, they have 12 on the board now. Well, down to 1. Yeah, dude. That's insane. Hey, I asked for the meta. Here it is. Trample on the Transients. My list didn't run Kami of Transients. I actually tried a couple other things. It was a fun time. I've always enjoyed Selesnya enchantments. It's pretty fun to run. See, that's a perfect example as to why like Hermit would have been decent. The 3 visitors was a little bit too much for us to handle, unfortunately, guys. We can get a blocker. And the trample still gets through then. So we'll go Hermit. And then right now, nothing to proliferate, but we still want to take out the visitor. Submit 0. And so if we would have had like a chump block here, then we would still be in it. But yeah, the trample's just very, very important. Ah, there's the Calyx. Very nice. We'll let them play this out, obviously. Drop the GGs. My list also did not run the Michiko's Reign of Truth. And I think when I was going over the list, I mentioned how there's a few different ways to put together Selesnya enchantments, and they all seem very effective. Honestly, they do. Let's see, we're 39 minutes in, guys. Ah, man. I'm having a really fun time. Do you guys think we can squeeze one more in real quick? Let's give it a shot. If it goes on for too long, then we'll just give it to the opponent, especially if it's leaning towards them, you know? It's all good. I'm hoping for a fast match like that last one, though. Okay, we got our removal, we got our good spirit. It's not like opponent goes first again. Wow. I don't think we went first a single time today, guys. Honestly, going first with a deck like this could mean a world of difference. Really, realistically, going first with any deck could mean a world of difference. So, cut down opener bearer. Cut down doesn't hit the frontliner well since it has the unearth eventually. I'd rather cut something else down, so let's go bearer. We also have drown if this is the type of soldier list that runs the Guardian of New Benelia. We have 2 open. I was gonna say this is a great trade for us, so keep cut down open or go drown. Probably keep cut down open. Go for the swing too. Do I think we can outpace soldiers? No. No, I don't. But do I think they're just gonna recklessly swing into the Lantern Bearer next turn anyways? No. So I don't really... Okay, reinforcements. Let's see what the swing looks like first. Keep the cut down. Could be a turn 3 Brutal Cathar, and then, like, cut down's really good then. Swing for 3. We're just gonna let this happen, man. They have 3 mana open. Like, there's gotta be something better to hit with this cut down, right? It's risky because they might not play anything, but... Sky Strike Officer, that's what I'm talking about, buddy. That's the type of card you want to hit with a cut down. Okay. Geist comes down, and now we hold back again. Brutal Cathar. Drown, we can bring the Geist back, and we won't have enough mana to play the second Geist, so hopefully we draw something here. I guess we'll take out Frontliner. It's doing a lot of extra damage with the plus ability, and if they use a mana to unearth, that's fine. Oh, cut down. Wow. Okay. Well, kind of wish I would have saved the Lantern Bearer back, because the cut down makes this turn actually really good, huh? We probably do it all on our turn. Sometimes Azora Soldiers runs counter spells, and it always throws us off, so we should probably... Patrician Geist. Cut down the Cathar. They're both 3/3s. Cathar number 2 would be fine, I guess, because we have the Drown and Ichor. Lantern Bearer. I wonder when I should have actually traded the Lantern Bearer for maximum efficiency. Or if we should have just kept it this entire time. You never know. Maybe keeping it on the board the entire time would have been better. No swings then. Wow, look at us, man. That's not that's not great. More land isn't terrific. Drown hits Siege Veteran well enough, I would say. Still bring the Lantern Bearer back, buff one of the Geists a little bit, but have 1 mana. If we go Abandoned Mire, we could bring the Bearer back to hand, then play it as a creature, and then maybe we'll be able to outpace them, because we're swinging for 6, then 9 next turn. Let them keep the Siege Veteran for a turn. Actually, I don't mind that, man, and honestly, maybe we'd see something better than the Bearer to bring back, too. Bunch of land. Well, at least it's not on top of the... At least it's not on top now, huh? Yeah, I like this. We might actually be able to outpace soldiers, guys. 9 in the air here, like, they need more of their removal. And if it is, like, another Cathar, then you can always bring it back. Not seeing any Sagas this game when we're actually seeing the Drown and Ichors. I, honestly... It might be a janky pick, because I bet that happens often. We have 12 Sagas in here, and all 4 Drown and Ichors. Okay, Cathar number 2. Take the Geist, now it's a 2/2. They can get one of these above. They probably saved the Veteran back, because that's a great trade for us. Okay, we take 3 down to 10, because we're about to buff the Lantern Bearer again by getting that Geist back. Ooh, Tribute. Oh, it's like, it comes at a weird time, though, because we don't want them to have more creatures right now. You know what I mean? Um, sure. Let's risk it, man. They're like one buffed board away. They're gonna get another 1/1. We get our Geist back. We have great blockers. They have 2 1/1s from the Rat Rogues, which at least those don't get buffed, right? Save a blocker back and swing for 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 3 here. Harbin doesn't end the game because they don't have 5. A double buffed board might end the game. We got to get them down to 10 so that way once our tribute flips, we have 12 on the board. And so hopefully tribute flips and we win in the air. It seems all, what am I trying to say? It all seems pretty risky here, regardless, because we know how explosive soldiers can be. Oh, Harbin, bring frontliner back. That's game. Okay, it might be Harbin. It's not Harbin. Let's go. Okay, I forgot about the frontliner for a second. Off the board state. We are forced to block, aren't we? The second siege veteran and the buff. So they did kind of sort of get a double buff with the second siege veteran here. Since we're at 10, they full swing. And we're forced to block. And then we don't have 10 in the air next turn. And they have 2 blockers on the ground for the rats. Oh, they're going to be tapped anyways. Oh no! Is that it? We take 8 here. It's going to be 10 getting through. So we block here, make sure the Geist survives, right? That's 11 getting through. So we take 8, 10. So we're forced to chump, right? Wait, Lantern Bearer's ability. Forced to chump. Down to 1. Lantern Bearer's ability. Gets us the GG's, guys. Oh wait, why is Echo a 5/5? Oh wait, why was I thinking? Wait a minute. I'll get that draw. Hey, first of all, GG opponent. Second of all, I was thinking this was a 1/1. I'm a little embarrassed. That's really funny. You guys were probably like, what do you mean, man? You got the damage right there with the Echo. No, for some reason, I thought this was going to be swinging in as like a 3/3. Or maybe I thought it wasn't a spirit, but that doesn't make sense because obviously I made the deck with the fact that it was a spirit in mind. So I just wasn't completely thinking that through. But hey, if it was just 9 damage in the air, then the Lantern Bearer would have given us that 10 anyway. So very nice, man. Very nice. So the Lantern's Lift was unnecessary there. Nice, dude. I'll tell you what, man. I thought it was going to be relatively janky, and we actually did a thing today. Dude, let's talk about this one, huh? We're 48 minutes in. All right. Dimir Spirits. Here's the list again. This was solid, dude. I'm surprised. I think maybe we got a little lucky in a few of those spots. Drown in Ichor. I could see dropping to 3 going up the 3rd cut down. If you don't like the cut down, I could still see the Fading Hope, but there are going to be moments where using that cut down to make the Death-Rattle Oni cost 2 less is actually going to come in handy. I just don't know how often that's actually going to be. Death-Rattle Oni was pretty solid. I really like this card. I really do believe it belongs somewhere, like as a one-of in some kind of build, something. I don't know, as like board wipe protection or literally anything. I don't know. The card just seems relatively decent, honestly. So the Long Reach of Night is decent. I don't think we saw Kaito today, unfortunately, but I still think it would be fine in here. Based on the games, it probably would have been a little bit slow. But I could totally see that -2 coming into play more than you would think, and a little bit of life gain from that -2 as well. So yeah, I like it, even though we didn't see it. Geistlight Snare did a thing. Malevolent Hermit was awesome. Lantern Bearer was pretty cool. Modern Age was fine. Tribute to Horobi seemed a little bad at moments, but like in that last game, bringing this back and actually proliferating with that drown was essential to get that extra haste a turn early. I mean, that was absolutely essential, right? So Maybe that makes a case for all 4 Drown and Ichors, even though it is sorcery and it did seem a little janky at times. Maybe we still want all 4 of them. For that exact reason, huh? Patrician Geist is like the main reason to even try these spirits, isn't it? Like, it's just so good buffing a nice flying board state already. That actually lets us keep up pace with a lot of great builds, man. And I don't think we went first a single time today, did we? So I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to go back in the video and check. But the mana base was fine. I think all the dual lands were relatively essential. It's pretty greedy, man, when you're dropping a bunch of stuff for your blue sources, but you also need to keep blue and black open for like a snare and a cut down or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, all the dual lands seemed pretty essential. Guys, I loved this one, man. I had a blast today. If you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.